What's going on, BHD family? Hope you guys are having a good day so far. You know, we are back with another hot seat segment, and I'm excited to be here. I'm feeling good. I'm a little tired. I've been getting back into working out in my regimen a lot, more consistently, but just diving into a really good book that I'm going to plug before we even get into the hot seat segment, into our, episode 13, I believe, where we're at. But just want to say what's up to my boy, Julian Robertson. And then we got Deshaun out here running the soundboard. But yeah, guys, I just think to start it off before we get into it real deep, Julian blessed me with the book a couple weeks ago. And my God, man, this book has where's it at? Let me get it. So if you guys aren't already, let's see, let me put it up right here. If you guys aren't already reading The Way of the Superior Man by David Dita. And obviously, I think reading the introductory, you don't need to be just a man. You can be a woman as well. But it talks about the masculine and feminine and the roles that it shows up and plays in your everyday life. And my God, I'm barely in part 1, chapter 10 or 11. And I've learned so much from this book. And I feel like so many things have just unraveled in life so far, bro. So I appreciate you a lot. Thank you again.
It's a great book.
It is a really good book.
I think every man should be reading that book.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, truthfully. And again, women can read it as well too. So it's not based on, it's not a gender thing. But for sure, men should definitely be reading this book. It's a profound book. I'm almost done with it, but yeah, man, there's a lot of perspective that I've gained reading this book. You know what I mean? It's a great book. It's one that men should definitely read. So this is for sure probably one of my top reads. I'll add it to the collection of my favorites, one of them.
Nice.
But yeah, it's one of those type of books, man.
I love that. Absolutely. Sure. And then obviously, guys, with the timing of everything, June is, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So, just one shout out for the guys that are really going through it right now, or just in a time of uncertainty, just in a gray area, maybe not just in a dark area, but in a gray area as well. There's always help that can be given. This isn't a platform to just, be or is supposed to be more of a therapy session. This is definitely just a platform to shine light on areas in our lives and your life to make sure that it's getting talked about, for one, and offering some types of tips that an everyday guy, as us three dudes, live day to day, being in our mid to late 20s. So if you guys do need that help, please get help as soon as possible, and just trust the journey by all means. So we're going to kick it off to Deshaun, and Deshaun's going to get us kicked off into the first question of the hot seat segment today.
What up? First question we got going for us. Do you think guys can be just platonic friends with women?
I like this question.
Yeah, true. So I'll add it. I'll say yes, and I'll say it's based on it's based on a disclaimer, and I say the disclaimer is if a man has had, for one, if he's grown up around pretty women, and also if he's used to dealing with pretty women, and that's been a norm for him, then yes, I believe he can have platonic relationships with women, because it's a norm for him to be around beautiful women. It's not abnormal for him. It's something that he's used to. Now, on the contrary, if there's a man that has not necessarily grown up in an environment to where he's been susceptible to being around pretty women, and if he's not used to that, I don't foresee how he would ever be in a space to where that's just a normality for him. It would probably be very hard for him to be around pretty women and not want something or want to garnish something from them. Whereas if there's a man that has had that and is used to it, he can be around pretty women, and if things are just cool, he can leave it at that, because he also is used to dealing with women personally that are pretty, that are beautiful. So it's very situational. But again, if the man hasn't, then I don't foresee him being able to be platonic. But if he's used to pretty women, he can do it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But again, back to the situational part, I think the walk in their life, where the guy is. If it's the dude that's single, and he's newly single, I don't think any guy's, newly single that's, meeting a woman to become a friend, I don't think that is the right time to intentionally make a girlfriend that's platonic, due to the loneliness and vulnerability issues that they could be struggling with at that time. But I do think it's possible. I will add, though, another situation it depends on is how did they meet?
I was gonna say that.
Because if let's say it's in a bar, some drinks being had, but if nothing happened after that, there's a chance. I would argue there's a chance. But if it's nowadays, it's on social media, it's I'm just looking for a friend, I don't have very many high hopes on it, because it's just a physical attraction before anything. And yeah, obviously we're gonna look and make our own assumptions based off of how someone looks. But I think we always talk about it, when you have friends, when you have guy friends, there's a certain level of attraction that you have towards them in their mind or their grind or the way they look. So that way you could try to attain that or be able to be accountable for the stuff that you're putting into that. And I think it's the same with women. When I'm looking for maybe like a woman friend, I'm intentionally looking for somewhat of the same ideas, but I mean, come on now, the attraction to a certain extent is there as well. So it can get into some really crazy things if both parties aren't on their grind to just being disciplined and having principles and what that friendship looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think platonic relationships between men and women happen. It happens naturally.
Yes.
It's not something that one goes into it looking towards. More so like if you're just naturally around pretty women and you're attracted to them, by default, there's going to be something that you're wanting to engage within. But when you look at men and women that I believe have platonic relationships, like when I think about women that I'm strictly platonic with, I've grown up with them. I went to school with them. I might have worked with them. I might have had there's something to where it's like it naturally happens, and it's like it just didn't. It wasn't an expectation.
You weren't looking for it.
I wasn't looking for it. It's just like, let's say you're at school, you're in school, or you're at work, and of course you could tell this woman is pretty, but it's like, nah, she's just cool. Like it's nothing like that. Then that can manifest into like a friendship. Yeah. But if it's not something like that, and you're out, let's say if you're out, like you said, you're out with your boys, or you're at the pool, or you're doing something, and there are pretty women around, I'm not thinking about platonic relationships.
That's true.
Now something could possibly still happen within that, not saying it couldn't, but the probability, the vibe doesn't really permit for that. So
that's a good
really
point.
Happen like that.
I don't think one time, let's say like hooking up, I don't think if you hooked up one time with your friend, I would argue that if you guys decided after that it was just going to be friendship after that, I would argue that can somewhat be platonic because you tested it out. That's not what worked.
That might be tough. Yeah, that might be tough.
But I'm just saying, like,
it could happen, but you already know, like, you've already experienced.
That's true.
You can't reverse that experience.
No, that's facts, though. But at the end of the day, how many people do you think there are out there that have tested that water and they're just like, nah, that's like we cool just off just being friends.
Sure. But I think there's something in there. There's a drop in that to where it's like we've tested that, and it could possibly still revert back to that if a situation permits.
That's true. I think of it from the other side.
It's very situational.
It is.
I would say that's
because you know what it's like already. So it again, there are nuances within everything.
Yeah.
It could happen like that. It could, but if you've already like gone to the max to just hop on the platonic, ship after that, it could get
That's true. What's your thoughts, Deshaun? And I'll go into what I have to say in my next comment.
I think it's possible. I will say, like, once you cross over that gray area, it does get a little bit harder.
Yeah,
it's tough.
If vulnerability is added to that equation, I would say, in my opinion, yes.
Yeah,
it's possible though. But once that vulnerability and you start ripping off those cloaks and saying when those drinks start coming, you're like, all right, and we both had a rough day, maybe a rough week or a rough spot in our relationship, and it's like, I had this before.
You could lean back into it.
How about I just, a little whiskey, a little Hennessy. I get down there, like I don't know, man. That's a
Pandora's box has been open at that point. You can't reverse it.
Yeah,
that's true.
Like you can't reverse the NIL deals now. It's out there.
Yeah. No,
it's out there. You know what I mean? You can't say we're not gonna pay y'all anymore. You did it.
Yeah. No, that's facts.
Yeah.
I heard of as recently of this weekend, to stay on this question a little bit longer. A woman that I met, she mentioned that she would argue that any guy friend that she has, she could easily, platonic guy friend, not just guy friend that maybe they've hooked up with, but a woman that I met mentioned that any friend that she's guy friend or a friend with that they haven't done anything that for years, like 7, 8 years, 10 years, she could easily get them to probably fold
for sure. Yeah. She probably could.
Right.
Guys friend zone themselves.
You think it's us? I'm not trying to put the blame on women. I'm just saying, like, do you really think intentionally it's us friend zoning, or it's just us wanting a friend who's a woman to maybe feel that woman presence in a friend way, not necessarily like a physical way, but emotional way, but like, I don't know. I think that's somewhat of a Pandora's box in itself, because having a woman who's your friend, let's say we get into the drinks, if you're a good dude, on, like we're on our path, we're going to be worried about what we're doing and how we're perceived when it comes to women and, being respectful. I would feel like I'm not touching a girlfriend now, present day, that's platonic in that way, unless she made a move.
So if she makes a move and she was strictly platonic, you're saying you would fold for it?
I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying it'd be easier to, especially with drinks in you, and she's good looking.
But so then is she strictly platonic then?
That's the point, though. That's the Pandora's box, because it's like the power.
That's what, you know what I mean?
The power is not in your hands anymore, because if a pretty woman's hitting on you, like it's talked about in the Bible, the women's just appeal is their strongest, one of their strongest powers to do to break a man or to make a man
fold. But if she's
fold.
platonic in your mind,
oh yeah,
that supersedes whatever she would do.
But what if you have drinks in you? That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
well, yeah, that opens, you know what I mean?
That's the situation of like,
because sober judgment is lacked in that.
Right, exactly.
But even if it is, I mean, I don't drink. So,
yeah.
I mean, I just don't drink at this point.
Yeah.
But factoring that in an equation, even when people are drunk or do things under the influence, you're still doing things that you genuinely want to do.
That's true.
So we can use alcohol or anything as like as a, not I want to say an excuse, but as a reasoning to do stuff.
Yeah.
But behind that is you wanted to do it. It might just be it could just be like,
Yeah, I get that.
It's almost like I'm gonna lean into, I had liquor in my system and that's
like
why I did it.
Courage and then
it's liquid courage, but behind that is
I wanted to do this.
you still.
But then does that woman even want to be a platonic friend from the jump then? Because if I'm saying I'm not making a move on a platonic friend because I don't see it that way, and the only way to get me out of my zone is anyone out of their zone. I don't care how much money you make or what type of dude you are. Once you get into a zone of alcohol or drugs, your mind and the way it works is out of tune.
For sure.
So does that woman necessarily want to be your friend if she's making the excuse of, well, I had drinks in me and I got a little touchy and that's not what I was intentionally trying to do. You know, drunk actions or sober thoughts or whatever that word is, or that phrase is. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think, again, this kind of debunks our yes to, you know, there being platonic friends between opposite sexes, but I think you really got to find a special one in this case to be a friend with, because like if that happens, I mean, like you just said, those intentions were always there. They just were never jumped on because that moment never appeared to itself. So, and I'm sure it's happened to plenty of friends that have been like 6 to 8 years as friends, and then just one moment, one drink later, broken.
I would have to piggyback on like what you kind of said earlier a little bit. Like,
yeah.
Because if you go into like a friendship, you know, like any guy can friends on a girl.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
But like sometimes guys do it just because like, oh, she's out of my league. Like she's too up there. So let me just go ahead and like try to come at her as a friend. And then, you know, maybe something may sprout, maybe it won't. But like we all have our types, right?
Yeah.
And we all we know some of these females, especially if you're growing up with them, you're working with them, you're doing all these things. You know, like, all right, I would step over that line for her specifically, or I just won't. I won't even do it. I see her like a sister. Yada. That's it. I'll leave it at that, and I will never graze that topic. Because me personally, my female friends, no, I know them.
That's respect.
I know their histories. I know how they get down. Absolutely not. No, it's a no-go. I feel bad for the dudes that they be like, you know, in cahoots with, but it's like that's not my business.
For sure. I'll just say this, and not to be too long-winded on this.
No, go ahead.
But I think if we say like there's a smooth, handsome man and there's a very beautiful woman, and they have a platonic relationship, it's not that they can't address or identify that there could be that this is an attractive person. I think what it is that regardless to whatever the nuance is, you appreciate that person for who they are.
Yeah. So
you don't cross that boundary. Because if you're around pretty women, it's not like you can't identify that your home girl or this woman that you're cool with is a beautiful woman. That obviously can be seen. And you can obviously, or there could be, I don't want to say attracted, you're not attracted to her, but she's an attractive woman. So yes, that could be there. But what being platonic is and being disciplined is knowing that, yes, of course, anybody could try to cross that line or you know, test those waters, but you don't. For whatever that reason is.
Because you respect them.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I lean towards and I defer to saying if a man has grown up around pretty women and he's used to dealing with pretty women, he has experience. So when he does have friendships or relationships with women who are pretty, it's not something that's abnormal to him. To whereas he can identify this is a pretty woman. We do have a good relationship, but it's cool. it's you know what I mean. I was gonna say it's cool love, but it's cool love because I'm used to being around beautiful women.
Yeah.
I'm used to that. So you being pretty, it's a norm for me. But if a man is not used to that, he's going for the gusto every time because she is beautiful.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do believe it can happen, but it's very situational because it's not to say you can't cross that test those waters. You of course could, but it's the realization of I'm used to being around pretty women. I surround myself with pretty women. So you being pretty is not abnormal to me. We can be cool within this because when I leave in a personal situation, I'm around a beautiful woman on a personal tip. Right. So if it's not that, I don't think I think the probability is very high that most guys are going to try to test that. But if it's the opposite, he'll be good.
Yeah, I think it's the boundaries that's the key to the power of it. And you know, just understanding moving with those boundaries and being, you know, as transparent as possible is like, look, this is just platonic. This is a way we're moving. Because I do think, you know, we're human beings. Like you're going to be attracted to regardless, you know, certain areas, certain situations. But I think we just got to make sure as men, the accountability aspect has to be setting the boundaries first.
Absolutely.
So
it's on us.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Deshaun, hit us with question 2.
Number two. What's a hot take that people might disagree with you on? It could be anything.
In regards to anything, hot take, I'll just say something random. Well, I think ketchup on cheese eggs is fire. a lot of people think it's strange.
Ketchup on eggs?
I throw ketchup on my cheese eggs or hot sauce.
Oh, cheese.
On my cheese.
I tried it.
Hot sauce and ketchup's good on it.
It's fire.
I agree with that.
I've done it before and
That's
people been
statement.
I like ketchup.
that's strong.
It's good.
But ketchup on cheese eggs, and I don't mean just dousing it. I mean you can throw a good amount on it, throw some pepper on it, dice it up.
Yeah.
It's fire. Try it for anybody. I'll say ketchup, hot sauce, or what's the
Cholula?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a Mexican like
Cholula.
it's a sauce. It's
tapatio.
a red sauce.
Tabasco?
Not Tabasco.
It's tapatio.
It might be one. It's something
One of
specific.
those.
I've had it and I
Well, he's
fire. It's what you
cultured.
throw on chorizo.
Oh,
chorizo.
yeah.
You throw it on chorizo.
Had a baby.
Yeah.
Real Mexican.
Throw it on it.
Chill with that. Chill with that.
The chorizo, hey.
That's great,
I was put
bro.
on that in college. Yeah. Shout out to, we won't say the name, but yeah. Chorizo.
Take care, love.
See, indeed.
Go ahead, Deshaun.
No, it's on. Oh, okay, for sure.
You want me to? Okay. My hot take is I don't think Disneyland's that great. Never been, but I don't care that I haven't. I really don't.
I've never been either.
If I get this question all the time, if I had to put money on something, I would guarantee if I went to Disneyland or Disney World, I wouldn't have a grand old time like everyone says that it is.
For sure.
There's just something about like growing up, you know, not to say we had the most money, but we could have probably saved up money to go to Disneyland or Disney World. But I just was so into like athletic stuff and like, you know, doing other things that Disneyland didn't really seem appealing to us. And we used to give my dad crap for it. Oh, he never took us. But now looking at it, bro, to see how much people pay to get there, the credit cards, the loans they pull out, to spend like $20 on a drink,
it's crazy.
$30 on food, like, and to wait in hours worth of lines for one ride. That doesn't sound appealing to me. I mean, that's just my hot take though. I do know people that love Disney, like that love the shows, love the movies, like they'll go once a year. Like, by all means, I respect that. But my hot take is I don't think Disneyland or Disney World is all that.
It's
like
not your vibe.
it doesn't seem like all that. I'm gonna get canceled though. So
now it's your opinion.
No, yeah.
For sure.
But my hot take, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it simple. Pre-gaming is much better than going to the club. I'm sorry. Pre-game is that's the whole event.
Yeah.
It's done.
Your anticipation.
Yeah. The build-up is already there.
The
vibe is there.
vibe,
Everything is already there.
I feel it.
Versus paying $40 for a shot.
For sure. That's a good take.
I'm
That's
cool
a good
with it.
take.
I'll be cool with staying at home. And just
For
drinking.
sure. The
like
vibes
that.
are a lot of times better, especially with the right people. For sure. It's more of a personable vibe. So yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I feel that. No doubt. That's
I
good
feel like
take.
as a guy, you got to be on edge too when you're at a club or a bar. Like you got to be the one that just, you can have fun, but you got to be on a swivel, like
sure.
just in case something happens. You know, especially when you're with, let's say you're in a group and you got women with you, like unfortunately, that's you're the one that's taking care of them. Like, if you're a good man, like that's
absolutely.
You got to think about them first, and sometimes you can't really let loose like you are at home. You're at home, turn on whatever music you want to turn on. You can dance however you want to dance. You can have your shirt off. You want to have your shirt off. But you can have a grand old time and spend $30 on a bottle. So
honestly, I want to recant that. My hot take is recently I seen Nike is doing this night run for women. I don't like women running at night. I'm sorry.
Word?
It's like,
that's a switch up.
I was looking at it on TikTok yesterday, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be offended. I'm not trying to be like, knocking everybody who does it. But I'm just saying, like, me personally, I think about women and women's safety.
Yeah.
I just personally feel like an all women run at nighttime is a very dangerous game. And it should be likely I would love to have that experience where y'all can just do that and be free. But there are men out there that are actively willing to snatch you up at nighttime.
Is it orchestrated or is it just a free fall?
Yeah, it was like an orchestrated thing that they're doing. Nike's doing a run club, like basically like a night run thing for women. And like all the women in the comments, like, why are men there? Why yada yada yada. I'm not saying you need a man to protect you, but I'm just saying if you're not equipped to protect yourself, physically.
It's a valid point.
I feel like it's a morning time. Like,
and the allure is when you have a man there, it doesn't look. I don't know if you guys saw that video of like the dude that he was a serial rapist or something. They interviewed him and they're like, he was like, oh yeah, I would look at the men of some of these wives.
I saw that.
The ones that weren't fit, I'm going after them.
Yeah, he did say that.
So it's like having a man there just makes the allure of women just not as pleasing. So it's like, I'm sorry, like love. You need them there. Like, you can protect yourself, but it just deters the crazy ones away because they see a guy, and as a guy, we're gonna think like a guy. It's like, why are you here at 9 o'clock at night in the park dressed like that with a bag? Like, get out, bro.
Go in the house.
Yeah.
No.
That's fair. Nah, that's a random one, but hey,
it grinds my gears to see it. Like, let's go in the house. Like, I'm sorry we don't live in a world that is like that. I can't.
That's not the only thing though. Unfortunately, like, it sucks to say.
Even when it comes to putting your clothes on, like, you could be mad. You can wear whatever you want to wear, but I'm just gonna say, like, you could be targeted. You could easily be targeted. It is so easy for them to do it. They've been doing it. We've seen it before. All the marks on gas things, or dropping something, or putting something on your car, making you fucking bend down. Anything snatched up. You're done.
Deshaun's gonna start a day run club here in Arizona, guys. So you want to pass out?
All women, not all. I'll take that back. That's.
I was about to ramp up.
Honestly, bro, they're about to ramp up right now.
I was saying, like, all women should carry. I take that back. I did not mean that.
Go to the next one.
That could be a very dangerous game. Keep running dudes over with cars. I like that.
Oh man.
What's a mistake most men make in their 20s that you had to learn the hard way?
Buying unnecessary things. Like, now I feel like moving out here, just everyone's driving a Camaro Super Sport or just a Challenger with a V8 or a Scaddy. Like, come on now. Nobody's really making that much money at 22, 23 years old. And that car payment's got to be well over $700. And it's crazy out here. It's hard for everyone. It's really hard. So I just think, if you want to make stupid purchases, do that in other areas. But a car that's a long-term deal, like we're talking about like a 5 to 6 year car payment that you're going to have to pay. I think to a limit, to an extent, there are certain things that young 20-year-old dudes have to go through. But I just think if they reframe their mind to suffer a little bit, or to maybe put themselves in embarrassing situations where they drive a Volkswagen, which a Volkswagen not even that much cheaper, or like a Mini Cooper, just something that's a little bit more sustainable, they'll feel better at 30 years old. So
I would agree. I would say a lot of things probably come or stem from a financial standpoint. In regards to just, I would say that linear to watching other people maybe in the same age bracket doing certain things and feeling the need to keep up with the Joneses or keep up with what's going on.
I like that.
Which I think, comparison is always the killer of happiness. And again, when for guys, we're speaking on men, earlier on in their lives, and seeing people in the same age bracket doing certain things that maybe they have aspirations of doing, unless one is on their path and really understands like it takes time. Like someone could get in a space of comparing or being like, I should have this now.
Yeah.
Or why don't I have this? And then it could lean into making bad financial choices based on the funds that they have. And now they're using those to get things to where it's like, nah, save that. You don't need that. Now it's going to come. Like you said, take this time. There's going to be a little bit of suffering. That's just part of the game. And then as you develop, as you get older, these things can be achieved. But you, unless you just come from a family that's just going to give it to you.
Yeah.
If that's not the case, you're going to have to devise a plan to, like, whether it's saving, stacking, not buying clothes, throwing on black tees and shorts, just being very, whatever it is, so you can put that bread to the side. And then eventually you can go ahead and get that, because you should aspire to live abundantly. So there's nothing wrong with getting good things, but you don't want to put yourself in a situation to where you didn't need it at that time, and now you did it, and now you set yourself back. Like you said, you're making an $800 payment for, like, come on now, that's crazy. So I would say those two things probably linear.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with, learn to take constructive criticism and join community. Like as guys, we always talk about, like, also, like, it's hard to be a dude, yada yada yada. All that is hard. You don't know what I go through. All that complaining and stuff. Have a community, bro. Just have a community. You need to learn how to be accountable for your own things. And yeah, you don't need everybody telling you, like, every time you do something wrong, like, hey, you did that wrong.
Right.
But it's be able to talk about it, and talk about what you're feeling and what you're going through. Like, stop listening to everybody and learn how to just be yourself.
Yeah.
Learn that first. If you learn how to be yourself, everything else will not matter.
That's true.
Everything will just fall in place. Like you were saying, it will all fall in place. Just be patient. You don't have to jump, and you don't have to jump at, getting a baby at 22, 25, 28. Like, you can be able to live your life, because you had the whole life to live. You don't need to have kids before you're 25. I'm sorry. You don't need to be laid up. And do not, by all means, do not move in with a woman that you are not married to. Please don't do it. It's been done before. No judgment to anybody at all, but learn how to be yourself. Learn how to have your own spot. Do all that. Like, enjoy your life before all that happens. Just date slowly. That's it. Get married, bro. You don't even have to get married. Just date slowly. If you're going to date, prioritize something else.
Wise words from the 24-year-old. I like it.
I agree.
I like it.
I agree for sure.
Good ones. Those are good ones, fellas. What's the next one?
Next step we got. If someone could only judge you by your outfit, what would they assume? What would they say?
Dang, I like that one.
Would they be right?
I would say intentionality.
Oh, that's a good word.
If somebody's judged by that, because I think when you put on an outfit, it's intentional.
Yeah.
So you're literally,
some of us, yeah,
for sure. I mean, yeah, or there's a lack of intentionality.
True.
It's one of the two.
True.
And I get some people don't really care about fashion and clothes and things like that. But even if that's the case, you can still present yourself a certain way. Like I have certain friends who they don't care about fashion, and that's cool. But it's not like they come out sloppily.
Yeah.
They don't come out sloppy. You know what I mean? They still have a certain decorum to themselves. And then you have friends who care about, they like fashion, they like dressing, they like certain things. And of course, that's just the opposite of that. And you can see, like, oh, I can tell you're into this. I can tell you're into this, maybe this brand, or you're into this style, or you're into this look. But anything in regards to fashion or not fashion, it's intentionality. So for me personally, if somebody were to, like, draw an assumption, I would hope that someone could see, like, oh, there's intentionality in just his overall look.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I don't think, like you said, there are guys out there that don't know how to dress. I just think they lack the intention, which I completely understand. I have friends like that.
They just don't care about it.
They don't care,
That's
but
fine,
there's a way of not caring, but there's a way of still, making sure that you're presentable.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of days, especially with COVID hitting, I think a lot of days people are way too comfortable with stepping out anywhere and not looking presentable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure. Yeah.
Like, just some things are just not meant to be worn. I'm not even gonna just say we won't have a debate, but like to the gym, to getting groceries. Like, it should be a privilege to be able to put on clothes and to be able to look a specific way, especially if you're single. Like, come on, you're not helping your case any bit.
Oh, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just not. So, two words that I would use would be bold and confident, because I do feel like when I look at myself and how I dress, I can probably say that I definitely toe the line with, like, certain things that I feel maybe confident in, and then certain things that I'm just like, honestly, bro, I don't know if this looks good. I'm just gonna wear it because I like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know that can be tough for a lot of people, because going out, sometimes you just don't want to be seen. So you wear a darker shade of colors, like you'll wear all black, or you know, whatever you got to do. But for me, I very much enjoy wearing like sporadically, like just different colors, like shades of yellow, shades of red, blue, sometimes just even monochromatic. But I think that comes with a level of confidence. And if somebody was to look at me and they were in their right walk, they would say bold or confident. And if they were maybe insecure about it, they'd be like, oh, he's doing too much. Cocky. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cocky. Absolutely. He wears the type. He looks the type. Like, so it's one of those two. What would you say, Deshaun?
For me, I'm gonna go with. I always got this. That I always look either stuck up, super creative. I have my off days. Like, if I'm going to like say, and I primarily like nowadays I buy a lot of gym clothes. So I have a lot of gym clothes now over like actual clothes that I'm supposed to have. Mm-hmm. Yes, I have them, but it's like I want to dress like I go to the gym. I dress like I look the part, but it's not like because I want to. It's just like that's my natural instinct to just throw something on, which is most likely put together. Just go out. But I always do look a little bit stuck up. I'm not even.
Do you really?
Yeah, I look just a tad.
That's wild. I wouldn't think so.
Just a tad bit. Like my aura is just like it's intimidating to some people, but it's like damn, he be actually like thinking about some things that he actually puts on. So like a creative mind. But if somebody else is like, yeah, he just acting bougie, like he not being himself. He just trying out shit.
Okay.
I like that. I can respect that.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him.
They just don't know you.
Yeah. By the way, this denim piece you got on right now, I've been looking at it all day. Like, bro, this is fire.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
It's a good fit.
I have not come across one yet.
Yeah,
they're hard to find.
That is fire.
They're hard to find.
With the pearls, that's definitely a good.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Making me blush.
Last one. What's one thing you stopped doing that immediately leveled up your peace or confidence?
I'll say this in a good way, because for me personally, everything that I do or achieve to do is from a very intentional and purposeful way. But in a lot of ways, I stopped caring.
I like that.
And I think you just have to stop caring in a good way.
Yeah.
In regards to like what people think about you, like your personality, who you are, your boldness, your confidence, things that you being the man that you are, like you can't dwindle that down for people thinking like, oh, he's too confident, or he's bold in like how he dresses or how he speaks or how he carries himself or how he carries himself or the charisma that he has. And you can't, it's not our task to care about any of that. So for me personally, I'll say just, it's been not caring, honestly. Like sometimes people look at it like nonchalant.
Nah, there's differences.
But no.
They don't get it. They're in a different space. And I think that's one blessing of like when you are on your walk, when you start seeing the differences between nonchalant and not caring about the negative side of things that show up in life. You live on like a whole different other path, bro. There's like two paths, good and bad, and then there's the other path to where it don't matter if it's good or bad. If I'm moving with intention, it's for the right reasons.
Absolutely.
And I think when you're in that space, it's easy to get in a zone and people look at you and just be like, why is he just doing his own thing? Same thing with dressing. Like you're gonna dress how you want, and it's gonna show up as like, oh, he's stuck up, or he's a creative. There's one or the other. So I can appreciate both. To piggyback off of that, I would say, two things can be true at once. I think that's one area, like, kind of.
Word?
What?
That's hard.
What?
What you just said. Bro,
two things can be true at once?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I heard that somewhere. It's not me, but I heard it somewhere. I read it somewhere.
Well, where it came
yeah.
Hard.
So two things can be true at once. I think it was in therapy, but I remember I used to get so uptight about like how I felt over someone else's feelings or like an argument. And it's just like, why do they think that way? Like I was just coming from an intentional place. Like I'm coming from intent. And you got to get to a point to where, again, not to care, but just because it's right in your eyes, there's always somebody else's truth that you're impacting that is a different truth. And if you can take a little bit of peace out of that and then just understand it to a level of being like, okay, I can see how that maybe showed up, but that doesn't go against anything that I was doing wrong. And I can accept that. That helps you move forward in your walk and do what you need to do. Because that is what shows that it's not being nonchalant or you're only caring about your side of things. It shows that, okay, this is how it hit with people. So let me try maneuvering it a different way, but with the same intention. Yeah. So working through life and knowing that you are going to hurt people, regardless of the words are true, which we are trying to come from a true space. But if they hurt people, it's not up to you to be hurt for that. It's just up to you to accept that they're hurt and continue to move forward because you were honest. And that's the best gift you can give to anyone, is just to be honest with them. So
No doubt.
Oh, sheesh. One thing I could say, well, I'm gonna agree with you both.
yeah.
I think we do need to like cover a little bit with nonchalant. I think we use that word too loosely out in this like
For sure.
world right now. Sometimes I think people just be at different walks of life, and certain things really don't. It's not that it does not matter. It just affects them differently. They just move through things differently. And I would just always ride on that more than it's like, oh, he just nonchalant.
Yeah.
We just got to stop using it. I feel like they just got to stop using that word. Yeah, I ain't gonna specify no specific group of people that use it, but just stop using it. It's cooked.
Yeah.
It's very cooked. I would go with. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to slide with this.
You gonna slide with it?
Nah. One thing that really leveled up my piece is really I'm gonna agree with Julian. Overthinking. Like sometimes if my hair not cut, I ain't coming outside. If that fit not if what I'm creating and it's not really coming together, you owe me. We ain't going. Nah. Something came up. We home for this one. But like nowadays, it's just like, hey, stop being up and go. Just go. Yeah. Grab something and go. Whatever I end up putting on, like it's just a fit. It really is. It boils down to just a fit and not making things so serious and overthinking it. I'm still gonna overthink it when I'm out, but like once you're outside, you're good.
Have you ever been complimented on a fit that you just knew it wasn't it?
Yes.
Have you ever noticed that sometimes those fits get more compliments than the ones that you've tried to plan out?
Yeah. It's
a crazy realization for sure.
Like, look at my face. But it's like at the same time, like, okay, maybe I really am just overthinking this. But I know my vision and my intention versus what's actually what I got on, whatever I put on. I know what I meant behind it, and I know like what I'm trying to reach for. But sometimes if that look is not piecing together, and it's something like it's random pieces that you're like really trying to create, and that vision doesn't happen, it's hard, but it's whatever. And it's like even with all our work that we do, or anything that you read or something, that if you just like put it together and you're trying to like get to a certain point and your mind is set on something, but it's just like it's not happening. You don't see that right now. And though it could be good, it just don't feel that way. You still just got to move on.
In regards to what you just said, it made me think about there's a book, I mentioned it on the podcast before. It's called The Courage to Be Disliked. And there's a portion in it where, and it's very true, and I think to help mitigate something that you just said, it's spoken about in the book. And the author says, the philosopher, he's speaking to a teenager. And in the realm of their conversation, because the boy was talking about, just how he perceived things, and again, the conversation that we're having in regards, he was saying how he often would overthink certain things. And the philosopher, the guy told him, he was like, people don't care as much as you think they do. And I think that's something that I think hopefully can resonate with a lot of people, whether it comes with fashion, whether it comes with, like, let's say haircut, whether that comes with anything, whether you step out or something. Like, we know how we perceive what we have on or what we intend to look for or look like, or whatever it is. But people don't really care as much as we think they do, whether that's in life or just other things as well. So for your outfit or whatever, yes, somebody might see your outfit and be like, man, that's a good outfit, or acknowledge it and they genuinely mean it. But after that, it's not something that they're really thinking about. No. You know what I mean? Even if somebody sees a bad outfit, they might see it and be like, man, I don't know what that is, if they choose to judge. But after that, they're not really thinking about it. So people don't really care as much as we think they do. It's really a self-imposed thing that we believe people are gonna just have these super like thoughts about whatever we have going on. And it's like, nah, it's not really the case. It's not as much as we really think that it is.
Yeah, then I think there was an excerpt or something that I was reading based off of why I asked you that question of like, do you ever see yourself getting more compliments on the fits that you don't feel like you really put together? And it was something how they were saying you come out as your true self and personality when you're not in the best fit, because that's all you can lead with. Yeah. You can't lead with the designer stuff. You can't lead with the $400 shoes. All you can lead with is how you feel about life and how you are as a person. And that shines brighter than anything. It does. And that's all you can work off of. That's the way evolution works, right? Like, it's, survival of the fittest. Well, now, since you're not fit, your fit's not fitted to your standard, you can only be fit by being your true self. And bro, that's more powerful than anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to try to find that formula in everything that you piece together in your whole walk, you'd be surprised at what that fitted fit looks like when you have that same aura like you're talking about with your fits that you don't feel like that. You know what I'm saying? So
You think it would be the same if somebody has a good fit on but a bad personality?
nah, I think the law of attraction works its ways. I think they'll attract the exact person that they're wanting to attract.
Sure. But in the sense of the fit hitting, would it almost be like, yeah, you have on a aesthetically a good fit, but your disposition doesn't link with the fit. So now it's like, this is a bad ensemble.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think it would play into the
sure.
part of what we're talking about of like, makes sense. The typical D-bag
sure,
dude that's
for sure.
wearing the $500 McQueens, like, bro,
sure.
it validates the whole stereotype of what I talked about a long time ago, I remember. And the ones that don't validate that stereotype are the ones that get talked to. They're just like, there's something interesting about you that I don't see a lot. You're wearing the $500 shoes, but you look cool to talk. You're dancing. You look cool to talk. You're not on the table just like sitting on your phone just judging everybody. Yeah. Like, you're actually reachable. I can talk to you. And I think that's the power of being able to interact with people is you got to act like a human being. You know, all these people that have all this money out here, they act like they're too good to be human. You know, they act like robots.
But would that make somebody a heed to the $500 shoes because the person isn't necessarily acting in a personable way? I'm just saying, let's say if somebody has doesn't have a good personality, right?
Yeah.
And they have on, let's say, designer, or let's say you use the example of McQueen's. Does that allow somebody to give that? Does that give leverage in somebody being like, makes sense? Now they can defer to the shoes. Now they can defer to like the shirt or the pants, and subsiding. If that person was cool, now it's like, oh well, they do have this on, but they're cool. So it's almost like it could lean either way. Somebody could defer to, oh, you have those shoes on and your personality is whack, so I can link what you're wearing to your personality. But if you're cool, somebody could be like, wow, you have on these $500 shoes, but you're actually approachable. So it's really what somebody wants to like almost defer to in that situation.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? On what you have going on.
And their walk.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is like, you will, I feel like when you're being your true self, which I would feel like when I'm around you most of the time, like I see you as your true self, you'll attract the people that you want to attract in that walk. Yeah. Whereas like when you're being standoffish and the dude that you just described on the other side of it, I feel like there's just not much coming to him.
For sure.
Like compared to the dude that's just being himself, you know? So
yeah.
I agree. Because I'm naturally quiet, but like sometimes
you ain't quiet. You ain't quiet.
Sometimes. Like, every now and then I got my ways.
You I would say, like, I would argue because we obviously hang out a lot. You read the room well, but that doesn't mean you're quiet.
I like being quiet though. Not all the time.
But what do you like about being quiet?
I just like to be observant. Like not even necessarily just being quiet itself, but like say when I'm not around you or like I'm not around my people and stuff like that, I'm silent.
No, that's fine.
Silent.
Yeah.
I talk to myself a lot. Disclaimer. But it's like I'm very silent and I just like to just chill, be like a little, just observe everything and whatever, just have a good time in my own time. And I just think about a lot of things or whatever I'm going through, whatever I need to talk about to myself. Like I just talk about it. I don't be open. It looks weird, but like sometimes you'll probably see me in a gym and I'm literally just having a conversation with myself, listening to my music. I'm having a full conversation, just evaluating, just going through the motion.
Yeah, you're observant. I think you correct yourself though. You're observant because quiet can be tied to isolation.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what I'm saying? That's why like the understanding of the different words, like you were talking about nonchalant, like you got to understand certain things to be able to know like what that ties to. And I think quiet people would most likely want to be tied to like being alone and by themselves. Whereas if I see you at the gym and I come up to you, you're not going to be like, oh man, bro, you're here again. When I go up to Julian, he's just like, he's the same way. I would say like when he's in the gym, he's getting his work in, bro. Like, and I'm like, hey, what's up? He'll talk to me. That's just a dude that's an observant, that's there on a mission to get his task done. But he still knows how to be personable. So
do you find it easier to approach people like that? Like can have those conversations with you? Like on your day to day?
That are observant and on like YouTube?
Observant or just doing their own thing and you kind of like say someone, I won't use the word like intimidates you to go.
For sure. Yeah.
That just like puts out that energy for you to just like approach them like, hey, what's up? Do you find it easier to have those interactions in your day to day?
Yeah, I would say it depends on what I'm in, like what type of zone I'm in. If I'm in a place where it's a public setting and I know that there are people around, by all means, I'm gonna have in the back of my head like, if someone talks to you, like you're gonna talk to them, or if like you, excuse me, oh, are you borrowing that? Like I'm already in that mindset. But if I'm in like a work mode, and it's in like my apartment, probably not. You know what I'm saying? Like I just think everyone has their own areas of when that switch turns on and off. Like at night for me, I mean, I'm not gonna just go out and talk to somebody randomly that's kind of like on their own little zone. But yeah, I think it just shows up differently for people, especially like I'm a big extrovert, but I can definitely have moments of observation. And if I'm at the gym too, I'm there for work. Like, and I think that's why I understand where you guys are at, because when you're there, it's time to work, your headphones are in, and you're not going to just be out talking to every single person. But if someone talks to you, you're going to obviously give them that respect. So
like reading those social cues.
Yeah, there you go. It's observant, for sure. But that's all we got. All right, y'all. Well, thank you again for just listening and tuning into this segment of the Hot Seat. We'll catch you guys in this next episode where we're going to be talking more about the book and diving into women, a little bit more into people pleasing in depth, but very happy to just discuss certain situations when it comes to men making decisions when it comes to a woman in their life. So catch y'all.